This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. The holidays are over, the decorations are down, and suddenly everything feels a little empty. It's normal to feel the winter blues after the holiday excitement. January, February, and March are by far my least favorite months of the year. It's cold and dark, and I have to get some extra vitamin D on board. I also need to keep my regular scheduled appointments with my therapist. So if you're feeling that post-holiday funk, I definitely suggest you checking out BetterHelp because maybe it's time to talk. You might also be one of those people like me who makes New Year's resolutions and you get super motivated. So maybe you need someone behind you to hold you accountable and come up with a plan to meet your goals. BetterHelp is super convenient, totally online. You have a therapist right at your fingertips whenever you need them. So head over to betterhelp.com/wifeofcrime1 to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/wifeofcrime1 for 10% off your first month.
More Chumba Casino fan mail. Love this. It says, Dear Ryan, I love Chumba Casino. They're so much fun. I love the wild ride from the social slots to the slingo to jackpots quicker than a 6-time real spin. Everybody's finding their fun at Chumba Casino. Why don't you find out for yourself? Head to ChumbaCasino.com and enjoy hundreds of casino-style games for free with your welcome bonus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply.
This podcast is an unscripted, unedited conversation about true crime. We take the cases very seriously, but I don't take myself seriously at all, and neither should you. Welcome to Wife of Crime.
So, Russ, you know that I have a full-blown cult obsession. I am so incredibly fascinated by cults. The case I'm telling you today, it might be a brainwashed cult. Or it could be a group of scumbags that got together, were like-minded, and decided to commit horrible crimes. This is the case of the Krugersdorp Cult Killings. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Wife of Crime, a true crime podcast where I tell my husband, Russ, true crime stories, and he reacts to them.
That little singing. Oh, what's up, folks? It's your boy, Russ, a.k.a. Lil Weezy's husband.
And I'm Jess, a.k.a. Dr. Pimple Popper, because I got this pimple on my face I've been working on for 2 days. You love Dr. Pimple Popper.
No, it's funny you brought that up because lately, you watch one or two little things on Instagram, and now all I'm seeing is blackheads being popped, and I can't stop watching them, though. I feel like I could do it really good. Like, if I had one of them tools, like with the little
it's
hole,
so gross.
I could do it.
It's so gross.
Well, I had bad acne when I was a kid, so I could relate. Like, I had a bad situation, but now your boy's skin is smooth as butter.
My skin's been as smooth as butter lately, but unfortunately, I have this giant pimple on my face. And you know when you only have one?
Who cares? It's only one.
But when you only have one, it's very noticeable. If you have a bunch of pimples, it's like, she's got pimples. But I have one, and it's giant.
That's wrong, because there's someone out there with a lot of pimples. Like, please, if I only had one pimple.
That's true.
Shut up over there with your butterface.
That's true. They're probably like, Jess, shut up.
Well, I don't mean a butterface, because back in the day, that was an expression that you called a girl a butterface. That means everything's good but a face.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I never heard that before.
It was in a comedy show somewhere.
Oh, I never heard that before.
Yeah, like, oh, she's a butterface. Everything's good but a face. So that means like you have a nice body, but you may
Your
look
face is
maybe
whack.
a ug mug.
You're bringing back all these like 90s terms. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for coming back this week and hanging out with us. We get messages sometimes that people crack open a drink and listen to us. So if you're drinking right now, cheers.
Let us know what's in your cup.
Let us know what's in your cup. Comment under the Instagram or Facebook post.
Yeah, don't DM us with what's in your cup. That's too much.
Why?
Because it could be a discussion for everyone.
True. It is more fun when you post under in the comment section because then other people can comment and they can relate.
Well, also, like, we used to be able to, as I said before, we used to be able to respond to every message. But now we try, but now we get so many, between, we still work.
Yeah, but I do a really good job.
I got a derb.
I do a great job at responding. I feel like I'm pretty on top of it, but it's true. Some do slip through the cracks. If you have slipped through the cracks, so sorry, but we really try.
So we got the update on the Eliza Fletcher case, which is sad.
Yeah, we do. I posted a TikTok after they found her body. It was very sad. I mean, these type of situations are just awful. She's just living her life. Going for a run. She was a marathon runner.
Staying fit.
She was staying fit. She was a mom of 2. She worked full time. She probably had to go running that early because that's the only time she had to herself before her kids woke up.
Wow.
And you know what's crazy? When I post these TikToks, because TikTok goes out to a huge audience, way broader than our audience, right? It's not just our people.
Isn't broader like smaller?
Broad is big, like broad, more broad. And the sad part is some of the comments I get from these people, some are just trolling, because they want a reaction. So they want to get people hyped up.
And here's your reaction.
No, but some are serious. Like, why was she running at 4 a.m.? Well, maybe she's freaking busy.
Well, everyone knows you don't listen to these mouth breathers that live in their mom's basement.
I know.
That are addicted to pimple popping videos.
I know. But the point is the mentality that people have. Like, maybe she wants to run at 4 a.m. because that's the only time she has to herself.
I know, but I understand what they're saying. They may not be saying it in a mad way that you are. Like, well, why is she running over there? No, it might be like, why is she running at that time? Like, it's not as safe.
Doesn't matter.
No, but the world shouldn't be that way, but the world is. So I understand when people come out that, like, no way should she have to. And no way should anyone have to do anything to protect themselves. It should always just be a peaceful, lovely world, but it's not. So I think you have to take precautions to keep yourself in the safest possibilities.
Yeah.
In the safest situations.
Yeah. Well, I did get a DM from one of our listeners. I don't remember your name, so sorry, because this just popped in my head. But they sent me this pepper spray that is like flat, and it straps around your hand. So as you're running, you have it in your grip, but it's like strapped to your hand. And that's a really great idea.
Well, I've always thought about coming out with a wife of crime defense line, like not me, not today type shit.
We have talked about that many times.
But we don't even know how to get started with that. So.
Yeah, it's something that's a little bit big for us at this time, but that's a really good idea to have this pepper spray in your hand while you're running, but it's strapped to your hand so you're not like, grabbing it.
Yeah.
They found her body. He is in custody, thank God. We don't know if he was following her because she did take the same route a lot. So it could have been something that he had been watching her for a while, but he won't talk. So no one knows. No one knows like why he did it. There's all these rumors. But you know what was really cool? The city of Memphis came together, and at 4 a.m, there were hundreds of people. They all met at the spot where she starts her run. And they all went for a run together in her honor.
Wow.
Isn't that nice?
Well, the city of Memphis, I hear, is cool. It's like a nice, cool, hard-working, blue-collar town.
Yeah.
I learned that from watching the Memphis Grizzlies. They always talk about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a basketball team.
Well, it was really cool that they all came together and did like a memorial run for her. And
it's true. It sucks that they even had to do that, but
it does suck.
Everyone take precautions. I'm not a victim blamer, but, avoid situations that'll put you in more harm than others.
Yeah.
Like I don't do certain things. I'm like, that ain't safe. I'm not going over there at that time. But then I do a lot of reckless things that could put me in bad situations too.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. It really is. So we put out our bonus episode, Start Spreading the News, last week. It got a really good response, as usual. Everyone loves it. because it's a highly requested thing that we do once a month.
It's a little bonus, little extra content that doesn't take a ton of research. We get some articles and we talk about them.
Yeah, and we just kind of bullshit. And then we talk about other things that are not even related. We go on tangents and we have a good time.
Well, that's kind of this podcast too. At least I go on tangents and have a good time while you're over here.
I'm telling a story.
Becky, the news reporter.
Whatever. I'm telling a story. So one of the articles we talked about was about a kid named Kanan Bauer, who was 16 when he rescued these 3 children by body slamming a guy who was trying to kidnap them. And then he put him in a chokehold and he held him there until police showed up. And he was the hero of his town. And I put the recording in of him. Well, I found out after we released the episode, a bunch of listeners and patrons messaged me and commented that unfortunately Kanan Bauer passed away in 2020 from a motorcycle accident, which was so sad. So rest in peace. I can't believe that.
True hero.
He was a real hero. This kid was only 16. He was 18 when he died.
18. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know, in the short time, he left behind a legacy that people are remembering him and talking about him.
That's so true. But when I heard that, it was so sad, and I just feel so bad for his family. But what a hero. He was an amazing kid.
All right. So I think now is the time for my review of the week.
Okay.
So
are you prepared?
Yeah, actually, I read one this week, and here it is.
Okay.
So every week, you guys know, write reviews on Apple. And I'll read one.
Wait, I have to say something. I listened to old episodes last week just because I was in the mood to re-listen.
I can't. I cringe.
And you do.
Yeah, I can't even listen to these. I'm just like, it's me. Shut up.
You hate hearing yourself talk.
Yeah, shut up, Russ.
Well, I listened to old episodes. You've been going strong with this review of the week for over a year.
I kind of missed it last week, but
almost.
But it was like I was late.
Last minute.
Yeah, but I read one.
Okay.
And I hate reading out loud.
Well, you're doing a great job.
Yeah, I could sound out. All right, so this one's from Deirdre Forget. Russ the Moldologist, 5 stars. Mm-hmm. Yes, we know Russ is like mold and he grows on you. Can we say he's a mold expert? A moldologist, maybe? He knows just what to say to rope you in and make you laugh. Or air laugh like Jess. By the way, I binged all of your episodes in a month and am now sad I have to wait for more episodes. #1 podcast right here.
Aw, that's good.
Thanks, Deirdre.
Thank you. That's a really good one. Well, this one's on the Patreon. We covered the documentary on Netflix called I Just Killed My Dad. We actually just recorded it last night, so it's going to be coming out on Patreon this week once I finish putting the episode together. And I have to say, the documentary was phenomenal. So if you haven't watched I Just Killed My Dad, go watch it. If you want to hear our coverage of it, going over it, talking about it, rating it, because we rate it at the end. We rate every documentary. You can follow us on Patreon at patreon.com/wifeofcrimepod. And you can check out all of our true crime and chills. And we have a ton of new patrons that you got to shout out.
All right. Yeah, so spoiler alert, though, for that documentary. That was, to me, the best documentary we covered on Patreon so far.
Wow, you're going to say that?
Just a little spoiler alert.
Oh.
It was the best one we covered, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. So this week's patrons are Matt, Allison, Julie, Tiffany, Bianca, Arlene, Michelle, Lori, Kat, Ellen, Amy, Jessica, Sheila, Alana, Jameson, a.k.a. Chicken Palm Hero for life. He's trying to steal Lou's title. We might have to have an eat-off.
An eat-off.
Like
the hot dog contest?
Yeah, like the Asian dude with the abs. He had the 6-pack that would eat all the food. And then Joey Chestnut, I think, is the champ now.
So Jameson and Lou got to do a Chicken Parm Hero eat-off.
Yeah, that'd be good. Lou started out like 140 pounds, went all the way up to 220 from chicken parm.
Yeah, true. So you better be careful with this.
So then we got Taylor, Amber, how you say that one? Madia? Maida. All right, shout out to you, Maida. Sean, Carrie, Sally, Jennifer, Ashley, Andres, Alyssa, Michaela, and Stacy, and about 3 Kims, LaToya, and Tina.
I didn't know if you were going to do it because you didn't do it last week.
Cheers. Well, you can't play it out.
Cheers to you guys. Awesome. All right.
I'm glad you said my reading was awesome because it reminded me like in school when they're like, everyone's going to read a paragraph. And then like I start sweating like, oh, shit.
Really? You hated reading out out loud that bad?
Hated it.
Wow.
Because I don't know, like I could read fine.
Just speaking in front of people.
Yeah, and I didn't learn, I didn't learn that I was shitty public speaker. Like, like if we ever did a live show, like if it ever got to that point.
I can't even imagine us doing a live show. I don't even know.
I'd fucking fold.
How Russ would act.
I'd fold. But you know what? I would just get drunk and like
hope for the best.
Sit there, and then maybe I'd pass the mic to someone in the audience, like, "Hey, you do it with Jess. I'm going to sit here and watch this shit." Because when I did speeches in front of like a lot of people at work a couple times, I got like tunnel vision and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm not even shy. I just don't want to talk. But like, what I did learn that helped me was just talk slower.
Yeah. Yeah. Talking slow does.
But also
help.
Work, I was talking about shit I didn't care about.
Yeah.
And like bullshitting and making shit up. Like meetings are fucking dumb.
It would be really interesting for us to have a live show. Maybe one day we will. That would be fun. Meet and greet, live show. That would be a good time.
I don't know.
I think it would be fun.
Just hit us up on the gram.
He'll send you some emojis.
Yo, if you hit me up, most likely I'll just respond with an emoji.
Yeah, most likely.
But they mean something. Like if I agree with you, I'll give you 100.
It's true. He really means it. It is true. He's not just doing it to placate
That means I strongly agree. What do you want me to type in? I strongly agree.
Yeah, if you get 100, as Russ says,
100.
if you get 100, that means he really agrees.
Well, because that means you're keeping it 100. You can't say, I'm keeping it 100. It doesn't work that way. Keep it 100.
It doesn't. Okay. So, we haven't done a cult episode in over a year.
Bro, I've been thinking about starting a cult. People just give you their money and like do stuff for you.
The only other cult episode we have done in our entire library of episodes is about Heaven's Gate. And it was a good episode. I actually re-listened to it last week.
I don't remember it at all.
So you should re-listen to it. So lately, I'm back on my cult obsession because I just love learning about cults. I am so fascinated by cults. I watch cult movies, cult documentaries, cult shows. I'm super into it.
Do you have a name of your cult you would name your cult if you started one?
No, I wouldn't start a cult.
Maybe I would do mine Moldology.
Moldology.
I'm like Scientology or Scientologist. I don't know.
Well, I just watched a series.
Because we're going to spread all over the world and grow. We got big plans over here at Moldology.
Moldology. Can't.
You don't like us at first.
You don't like us at first.
But now you're stuck with us. Shout out to the Moldologist out there.
So, I love learning about cults. I just watched a series on Netflix called Devil in Ohio. Handmaid's Tale's new season comes out September 14th.
Just
super excited. And Sins of Our Mother, which is about to drop on Netflix, is a documentary about Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. And we've been talking about that case for 2 years, Russell.
I never heard of it.
Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, the Mormons, and Lori Vallow killed her children. And because she followed the guy, Chad Daybell, we talked about it for 2 years. I've literally mentioned it in multiple episodes. We actually talked about it in length.
I forgot. There's some episodes, honestly. Some of them.
You do remember.
Like last night, I was really buzzed. So I kind of don't remember what we spoke about. But I remember having fun.
So, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. Lori Vallow had 2 children. She killed them because Chad Daybell said there were, he was a Mormon guy who like became this extremist and the apocalypse is coming, blah, blah, blah.
Did we do an episode on that?
We did a partial episode because I spoke a lot about it on our cult episode, the last cult episode we had.
I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah, you'll have to re-listen. So they're coming out with a documentary about that case called Sins of Our Mother, and it's coming on Netflix this month. And, since I'm obsessing over cults lately, and I happen to have a listener named Mia suggest a cult case to me recently that I had never heard of. I looked into it and I just knew I had to do it. Now, in our last cult episode, when we talked about Heaven's Gate, we went through like all the differences between religions and cults and what makes a cult a cult. So I'm not going to go through all of that again today. If you want to hear that, you can listen to that other episode. But
I wonder if anyone that listens to this podcast is in a cult. But you know, religion is the cousin of cults. Like there's a line somewhere where a religion becomes a cult.
No, I agree 100%.
So it's very close.
There is a line.
I guess the only difference between a religion and a cult is that a religion's leader is dead and a cult's leader is alive.
Well, you said that, and that's not the only difference. You said that in the last episode, but we agreed, because since you don't listen to our episodes, you don't remember that we agreed that that's not always the case. That actually there's a lot of other factors that make a cult a cult. That when you're in a cult, your decision-making skills are extremely flawed. You are blinded by the belief so much that you isolate yourself and that you're unable to critically think at all about the situation that you're in. That is more of a cult. Whereas a religion, you're not completely isolated. It's not as extreme.
You don't live on a farm.
But cults branch off of religions. And, you know, there is a line there that you can cross over and then you can become part of a cult.
Yeah, because the dudes will be like, I'm the Messiah. Exactly. I came back. I'm Jesus.
Or I'm a prophet.
But think about back in the day. Like, if, like, you know, Jesus was Jesus, you know, they'd be like, shut up, bro. Like, there was a lot of people like, shut up. You ain't nobody. Like,
well, exactly. A lot of people did say that. And then they crucified him.
Yeah.
So then that goes with a lot of the religions that we see, you know, that they had one being that they worshipped.
Well, I guess how you can figure out if a cult is real is just try to kill the cult leader, kill him, and if he comes back to life, then he was real.
I don't know. So this cult that I'm going to tell you about today is very interesting because I do believe that some of the members, especially the youngest ones, believed everything they were being told, right? But I also do think that some of the members started off believing it, but then in reality were also like-minded scumbag pieces of shit that happened to find each other.
Yeah, because sometimes people get power and they get sick with power.
Exactly.
Just like all about politicians.
Exactly. So
I got to stop talking about politicians, but they're all a piece of shit.
Well, they started off thinking they were ridding the world of evil. But as time went on, most of them actually liked committing the murders that they committed. Because this cult killed for their purpose. Their purpose was to rid the world of people who they deemed as doing evil things.
There's way too many people to accomplish that mission that are doing so-called evil things.
Well, no, they were as a specific group they were targeting.
Oh, because I was thinking if you want to kill everyone that's evil, you don't got enough time, bro.
No. So this group specifically targeted a group, okay? This is the case of the cult named Electus Per Deus, a.k.a. the Krugersdorp Cult Killings. Are you ready?
Yep. That's a stupid-ass name.
What's a stupid-ass name?
Of their cult. I wouldn't want to join that, but like, I can't even spell that. Like, give me a name of a cult that I could spell at least. Like, what is our Instagram name going to be? How are people going to find our hashtag?
In 2012, in Krugersdorp, South Africa, which is a mining town outside of Johannesburg, a woman named Cecelia Steyn walks into a church called Overcomers Through Christ. We're going to call them OTC. So it's Overcomers Through Christ, aka OTC. They have an AKA.
You down with OTC?
Yeah, you know me. There you go. Now, I may have some people correct me on this, but from everything that I've read and researched, it seems like Krugersdorp is similar to the Bible Belt in the South, okay? And a lot of Johannesburg, a lot of parts of South Africa seem to be very similar to our Southern Bible Belt. It's a place with a lot of churches, a lot of Christian groups, And at this time in South Africa in 2012, they seem to be experiencing a bit of a like satanic panic. Okay. Like we experienced it in the 90s. They experienced it throughout the 90s and into the 2000s.
Didn't have TV. It's over, bro.
Well, no. Mia, who is my South African friend that sent me this case, she and I talked a lot about this. And she said that they don't even celebrate Halloween.
My mom wouldn't let me celebrate Halloween.
I know.
She thought like there was razor blades in the candy and like...
And she thought it was like a satanic...
Oh my God.
A satanic situation. Well, apparently a lot of like parts of South Africa are the same. They're very religious over there. And it's very similar to the Bible Belt here. The cult fear and fear of Satan is very real there. Okay. So OTC's leadership... OTC, which is the Overcomers Through Christ, their leadership would sometimes preach about building an army of believers to fight the satanic forces on earth.
I thought they fight them in prayer.
Well, that's probably what they were doing.
Oh.
So when this woman, Cecelia Steyn, walks into this church and says that she's seeking deliverance from Satanism, one of the church leaders named Ria Grunwald jumps on it because this is like confirmation bias, right? We've been talking about this. Satan is out here. He's evil. We got this lady walking into our church claiming that she needs to be delivered because she's been in a satanic cult. And she tells the leaders she is a 42nd generation witch. And she spoke about rituals and human sacrifices that she took part in. And she said that she was bred to be the wife of Satan.
Can she do magic?
We'll talk about her later.
Like David Blaine.
We'll talk about her later.
David Blaine doesn't do magic. That boy will be like, I can stand on my toe for 3 days. Like, bro, that ain't magic. You're just doing dumb shit. Like the dude from Mad TV, like, look what I could do. Like, I can't do it, but I also don't care that you can do it.
So true. David Blaine like froze himself. Like he does things that aren't magic. They're like, just like weird and
yeah, because I also like, all right, cool, dude. I can't do it, but I don't care you could do it either. Go somewhere.
Well, Cecelia tells them that she fled the satanic church because she's seeking deliverance from her evil ways and she wants a relationship with God and Jesus. So I'm going to show you a picture of Cecelia.
Oh, oh.
And we're going to... I love doing this because I want your genuine reaction.
Let me see.
To this.
Eyeliner? Mad eyeliner?
No.
No eyeliner.
So tell me what you think Cecelia looks like in your head as I'm talking about Cecelia.
Well, she's obviously a white woman because only white people fall for this dumb shit. You've never seen a black person in a cult. They go dance in their church and have fun. And then, like, do cookouts. It's dope. Like,
do cookouts.
Yeah, I'm with that. It's definitely a white person for sure.
Okay. What else?
Definitely bad hair.
Okay.
The hair is going to be really bad.
This is so fun. Okay, what else?
All I got is bad hair, white woman. And I feel like it's black hair.
I can't wait to show you. Are you ready?
Yeah. Yo! Is that a human?
You literally called it. You're speechless.
That's a human?
So this is Cecelia Steyn.
I do not identify as a human no longer if she is a human.
If you'd like to see her picture, go check out our social media. It's on Wife of Crime Pod at Instagram or Facebook.
She had like a fucked up flat top, but it was like a see-through flat top.
See-through flat top.
It was transparent. That was magical.
So Cecelia comes in this church. She says, you know, I'm a 42nd generation witch. I'm supposed to marry Satan.
I thought witches were hot.
I've been in this cult for a really long time. I want a relationship with Jesus. I'm ready to go. So Ria Grunwald and Cecelia, they create a Bible study group together called Know Your Enemy, where Cecelia is kind of the center of this Bible study because she has all this information about this.
She made this up.
About Satan, right? And she wants to give the group the inside scoop on the devil and devil worship and how it works and how to fight against it and all that jazz.
She read 3 Goosebumps books and went to the church just like, I'm evil. Get out of here.
So Cecelia, as you may have gathered, is not in fact a witch or a devil worshiper at all, like you said. She's a psychopath attention whore who is relishing in being the center of this church's
She ain't had
focus.
shit to do before that. And if you pull up in there with that hair, you have no credibility.
True.
That better be a home haircut.
But
that's like a real haircut that someone did.
they believed her. So she starts, being part of this Bible study. And she's the center of attention, and she loves it because she's relishing in being the center of this church's focus. But after a few months, Rhea is like, okay, cool. We've covered the whole devil thing, like what to do, what not to do. You gave us the inside scoop. Thank you so much.
Is she going to pretend to be possessed?
Just wait.
Okay.
Let's switch the focus of the Bible study to something more positive, like how to build a stronger relationship with God. And she kind of tells Cecelia, thanks for your help. We've learned a lot. We're moving on to a new subject now. Our Bible study is switching gears. Cecelia does not like this at all because she's a narcissist. She loves being the center of attention, and she starts hating Rhea for taking that attention from her. And she tells Rhea that the cult is going to come after her and the church if they don't keep praying over her at these meetings like they've been doing. So one night, during one of the Bible studies, the group hears screams outside in the parking lot. They run outside and they see Cecelia laying on the street.
I knew it.
Covered in blood, claiming that members of the cult stabbed her. She actually stabbed herself.
Yo, that's hard.
And she's laying on the ground, covered in blood, claiming that this was the cult that attacked her. Then small, Molotov cocktail bombs start going off in the parking lot. Okay? Which is insane. So Cecelia starts recruiting members of the group, the OTC. She starts recruiting members to branch off and become part of her group of Satan fighters. She tells the members that they're doing important work in fighting evil, and a bunch of them start meeting at her house a few nights a week to have these, Bible studies. Cecelia tells them that there is an orphanage in America that is a secret place for children who have escaped the cult, and that the group needs to start donating to these children to help them. So they start giving Cecelia money.
Oh my God.
Multiple thousands per month, which they think is going to help these kids out in America.
She reminds me of, you got to go on YouTube and watch the skit, My New Haircut. It's like a Jersey Shore thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but not from Jersey Shore, but it was like before Jersey Shore, My New Haircut. It's like a blowout thing. She has like a bootleg blowout.
She does.
She has like a see-through Pauly D haircut.
She does have a see-through Pauly D haircut. She is Cecelia Steyn, a.k.a. Pauly D.
She's Pauly D if he was non-binary.
That's really funny. Cecelia, a.k.a. Pauly D. So she tells them there's this orphanage in America that has all these children in it that escaped the cult, and that they need to donate their money to save these children out in America. This is clearly not true, obviously, but these group members are giving her thousands of dollars a month. She decides to name her group of followers Electus Per Deus, which in Latin means chosen by God. And over the course of the first year, people come and go, but the group slowly dwindles down to a core of 6 people. Okay, and these are the 6 people that we're going to talk about for the rest of the story. I know you're really bad with names. I'm going to name them. You're probably going to have a hard time following. I'll keep trying to help you through it.
You've become much more reasonable. In the past, you'd be like, keep up!
Okay. So there's Cecelia, who's the leader, right? Cecelia Steyn. Then there's a couple named Michaela and Zach Valentine. There's a woman named Miranda and her 2 children, 16-year-old LaRue and 14-year-old Marcel. Okay, that's the group. So Zach Valentine was a very successful financial advisor. Miranda was a high school teacher. Her son LaRue was incredibly intelligent, and he was going to be going off to medical school within the next year or 2. And the youngest, 14-year-old Marcel, was a very quiet, sweet girl. But, something to kind of keep in mind is LaRue and Marcel are 16 and 14 when their mother drags them into this cult. Okay. Especially Marcel. She was a bit of a book nerd, never got into trouble. She was like an average, quiet teen and seemingly pretty impressionable, especially at 14. Like, you're so young and dumb at 14, you know?
Yeah, I went to my mom's church at 14. They were a cult.
So these were like seemingly average people who were completely romanticized by Cecelia's story of battles between good and evil. This group all got tattoos that said Electus Per Deus on them to show their devotion to Cecelia and the cult.
Is Cecelia the one with the bad haircut?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
So she told them she was bred to be the bride of Satan. And since she left the cult...
I don't even think Satan would marry her.
Well, since she left the cult, she would come under attacks by Satan and his demons. So at the meetings at her house, the group would pray over her for hours and hours. She would convulse on the floor. There's actually footage of this. There's a documentary if you're interested. Unfortunately, I couldn't watch the documentary because you need a VPN and we don't have one. But
really?
Yeah, because it's made in South Africa. If you have a VPN, you should check it out. It's called Devilsdorp. I really wanted to watch it.
It's cheap.
Well, I really wanted to watch it because I heard it's like really awesome, like phenomenal documentary.
We could like tax write-off it or something.
Well, we should. I definitely want to watch it. But if you have access to it, watch Devilsdorp. And there's actual footage of these meetings. They filmed them.
So they were praying over her. And because she was the devil.
No. She
wasn't like
devil.
Harlem shaking on the floor?
Russ.
Like, get this money. Take this money. Ain't no way you could get this from me.
Stop. She wasn't saying she was the devil. She was saying the devil and the devil's demons were attacking her for leaving the satanic cult. Because she was supposed to be his bride.
She was G-Dep.
So she would convulse on the floor, right?
Harlem Shake. That's what I was saying.
She would Harlem Shake on the floor. She would end up having blood pouring out of her mouth. And seeing her in distress made them pray harder and further confirmed their belief in the things Cecelia told them. Blood was actually pouring out of her mouth.
Do you think she got one of those vampire blood capsules?
Close. What she actually did is she would draw her own blood. She would take latex gloves, cut the fingers off. She took the blood that she drew,
real blood.
Put it inside of the latex glove, tied it up, and put it in her mouth, and then she would bite it to break the latex glove and then spit all the blood out.
All that, and she could have just went to Party City and got one of them blood capsules and chewed on it.
They don't celebrate Halloween over there, so maybe that's why they don't have Halloween stores.
When was this? They might have had internet.
2012.
Bro, Amazon was invented. Get the blood capsules, chew on it, put your little drool in it, and go,
It's true. She would cut the fingers off of these gloves, put her blood in it.
Her commitment was...
It was a serious commitment. And it was kind of crazy. But this confirmed, like, she's convulsing on the floor, blood's pouring out of her mouth. They're all praying over her. Now, like I said before, it's confirmation bias. Like, they believe all of this. So then they actually see it in front of them. And they're going
I was there. I'd be like eating popcorn, dying, laughing, like, let's see what she's going to do next.
I know, but they really, really believed it. So the crazy thing is, Cecelia Steyn, this is even more crazy than what I've told you so far. She was actually married to a cop. And she would have these meetings when her husband would go to work and have overnight work shifts. He'd be gone. Her husband had absolutely no idea any of this was going on, apparently. But that is still debated to this day.
That she had a husband?
No, that he had no idea. That he had no idea what was going on. It's still debated because as I tell you this story, you'll notice that the police really, really, really dropped the ball. And a lot of people think maybe it's because she was married to a cop.
I wonder if he had the same exact haircut. 'Cause it was high and tight, but not a good one.
I don't know. You guys already know because we have been talking about them for a while now. Via Hemp is by far one of our favorite sponsors we've ever had, okay? We use their products all the time. Maybe you're a little like me. You're a little anxious You have a hard time settling down. You're kind of wound up a lot. If that's you, Via Hemp products are for you. Check out their website. You will find something that speaks to you. Maybe you're like Russ. You have a hard time sleeping because you have bad nerve pain or chronic pain. Then Via Hemp is for you because their gummies will help you get some quality sleep. Maybe you're looking to have a really good time. Maybe you just really like edibles. You want to laugh. You want to get the munchies. You want to watch a movie and have a really strong belly laugh. Then Via Hemp products are for you, okay? They're literally for everybody. So head over to viahemp.com, promo code wifeofcrime1 to get 15% off your first order. That's VIIAHEMP.com. Wife of Crime #1 for 15% off your first order. Last year, Save More Money was the most popular New Year's resolution in America. Clearly, a lot of us feel like our money is slipping through our fingers. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not the best saver, and I don't know much about investing until I started saving and investing with Acorns. Turns out you don't have to be an expert at all because Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that fits you and your money goals. And I always thought that when people say, ooh, I invest in stocks, that they had a ton of money or something. Well, you don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you invest with the spare money you've got right now. You can literally start with $5. And you know you guys are spending that at Starbucks on these fancy lattes. So skip the coffee and invest with Acorns. You don't even need a ton of time. Like you can just sign up and start investing within 5 minutes. Head over to acorns.com/wifeofcrime or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. That's acorns.com/wifeofcrime. So another thing she did to Miranda and her 2 children is Cecelia invented imaginary lovers for them. These imaginary lovers were apparently occultists trying to break away from the satanic church, and they could be killed if anyone found out that they were dating Christians. So they were told that they're never going to be able to meet them in person, but they can only communicate through text messages. So Marcel, LaRue, and Miranda all had, these lovers or boyfriend, girlfriends on the phone. Meanwhile, it's Cecelia the whole time texting them, pretending to be their girlfriend or boyfriend. Cecelia also claimed to have dissociative identity disorder, aka multiple personality disorder. She said that she got this as a result of PTSD from years of abuse in the cult. So she would have these different personalities come out sometimes, and they would play different roles of whatever personality that would surface that day. She would play a role that whole day.
People believe anything.
It was pretty nuts. So this type of crap went on for a few months. And as she is trying to brainwash the peeps, she is growing more and more hateful towards Rhea Grunwald, the one I spoke about earlier, the leader of the OTC, who made that whole Bible study about her, but then decided to switch gears and go on a different route.
She basically wanted a religion about her possessions.
So Rhea also starts talking to members of the OTC and says that she is starting to think that Cecelia was full of shit the whole time. So Rhea is really doubting Cecelia at this point, and Cecelia is growing more and more hateful because she's hearing that Rhea's talking about her. She also is pissed off that they changed gears and stopped talking about her in a positive way, that they're delivering her. And Cecilia's rage is growing, and now she wants revenge on Rhea. So she devises a plan. She tells her followers that Rhea's best friend, Natasha Berger, prayed a danger prayer that caused the death of 160 children in the cult orphanage over here in America.
Prayer's not that powerful, folks.
Cecelia tells the couple, Zach and Michaela Valentine, that they need to go and destroy Natasha Berger for praying this prayer. So on July 26, 2012, the couple goes to Natasha's house. She isn't home. So they end up going over to her neighbor's house, whose name is Joy. And she's also in the OTC. They tell Joy, the neighbor, that they're good friends with Natasha and they want to surprise her when she gets home. So can we just like wait in your house until she gets home? And Joy's an older lady. She's very sweet. And she says, yeah, sure, you can wait here. Which, to be honest, I was like, damn, why? Like, don't do that. Don't let strangers in your house claiming that they're waiting for your neighbor.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Don't do that.
Like, if you say hi to me in the street, I'm like, why are you talking to me?
I know. So she says, sure.
Yeah, so the moral of this so far is, don't be nice.
Yeah, don't be nice. So Joy says, sure, and invited them in. And after in her home, they lock her dog in the closet, and then they attack her with a hammer and knife and murder her.
How many of them was there?
This, at the time, there was 2 of them. It was Zach and Michaela, who's the married couple.
Piece of shits.
So they attack Joy. They murder her by hitting her in the head with a hammer and stabbing her multiple times. Then they go over to Natasha's house when she gets home, and they have 14-year-old Marcel knock on Natasha's door and claim that Marcel's cat got into Natasha's yard. And at first, Natasha's like, nah.
He'll get out.
No, she's like, no, I'm not opening my door for you.
I don't open my door. Like, if my door knocks, you've heard this before, I literally just don't get up. Whoever knows me has my phone number. That's it.
Well,
unless I'm waiting for like a good video game delivered or something.
She answered the door, but she said, no, you're not coming in my house. Your cat didn't get in my yard. There's no way, because my yard is all like locked in. There's no way your cat got in my yard.
Fuck your cat.
But they end up pepper spraying her in the face, pushed her in the house, and then all 3 of them enter the home. And Zach and Michaela beat her in the head with a hammer and stab her to death. Marcel witnessed it. She's 14. She witnessed all of this. She was the one that knocked on the door, but she didn't actually hurt Natasha or Joy. She just saw all of this happen, which is very traumatic. So the next victim was a man named Reginald Bendixson, and he was Rhea Grinwald's mentor. So Cecelia keeps attacking people in Rhea's life. Like she went after her best friend, Natasha. The neighbor was she wasn't really involved, but she was kind of like an innocent bystander, unfortunately. And now they're going after Rhea's mentor. He occasionally preached at OTC. So on August 13th, 2012, Zach, Valentine, and Miranda, disguised as police officers, knocked on Reginald's door, trying to talk to him about the murders that happened of Natasha and Joy, because he knew them. They all went to the same church.
Yeah.
So they knocked on his door pretending to be cops, and he let them in the house. Unfortunately, he died after being stabbed multiple times. And Miranda, later in court, described this murder as exciting and an adrenaline rush. So that's my clue. That yes, they might have believed Cecilia's bullshit in the beginning, but there were some like-minded individuals who enjoyed committing these crimes. And it wasn't necessarily completely because they thought they were ridding the world of evil or doing anything like that. They liked it. And that's what makes this cult a little different to me. This is a bunch of scumbags that got together. I think the only people that I feel were innocent in this are the teenagers, because their mom brought them in. And not that they're innocent. Don't get me wrong. Wait, hold on. Not that they're innocent, but that they were forced into the situation, and then they did commit crimes.
Not everyone could go hitting people with hammers, man. Doesn't matter what your mom says. Some people's like, no, I can't do that.
I agree.
Because that takes a lot of force. That's harder than shooting someone, beating someone to death with a hammer.
I agree. But I think that the 2 teenagers truly thought that they believed Cecelia. So after this murder, Michaela, Zach, Valentine's wife, right? They're the married couple, Michaela and Zach. Well, Michaela starts getting really freaked out. She's like, what are we doing? Like, this is crazy. We're committing murder now. Like, this is on another level. And she calls her mom and she tells her mom, people are getting killed. I want to leave this group. I'm getting really scared. She even goes to Zach, her husband, and she's trying to reason with him. Like, Zach, what are we doing? Why are we part of this?
Yeah.
You know what Zach does? He goes to Cecelia and he says, my wife is talking about how much she doesn't like this, how much she wants to leave the group. So Cecelia tells Miranda and her kids to kill Michaela.
Because she doesn't want to lose power.
Well, she doesn't want Michaela to go to police. Michaela wants to leave the group. They murdered people. She'll definitely go to cops.
Well,
she's freaked out by what's been going on.
They're definitely going to get caught eventually, like the way it's going, because people aren't just going to keep... You can't find so many people to just keep being your henchmen.
Zach made sure that he had an alibi for the day that Michaela would be murdered. He put a tranquilizer in his wife's coffee and left and went to work, and he happened to make sure he had meetings scheduled with people all morning so that his alibi lined up. Miranda and 14-year-old Marcel and 16-year-old LaRue show up and find Michaela asleep in her bed because she drank tranquilizers in her coffee, so she fell asleep, and they start beating her while she's asleep.
Oof.
And then start stabbing her.
Wait, so the husband put it in?
Yes. And then
so the husband is more loyal
to Cecelia,
to bootleg Paulie D.
Yes. Than his own wife.
Wow. What a clown, cornball, loser.
Every name in the book.
Insert more names here.
Yeah. So Miranda tells her daughter Marcel, you need to stab her too. But Marcel didn't want to. She's only 14. And at this time, she really liked Michaela. Michaela was kind of like a big sister to her, right? She looked at her as a big sister. But her mother insists. So Marcel stabs her one time, but freaks out and runs out of the room. Miranda then proceeds to stab Michaela 63 more times. After Michaela's death, Zach puts on a show, sobbing, pretending to be completely distraught. But he does collect his wife's life insurance policy. And he gives all of it to Cecelia, saying it's for the group to live off of and to send some of it to the orphanage to save the children from the cult.
I hope someone kills him.
The group lived off this money for a while. And then for about 3 years, they didn't kill anyone. But where's the cops? They just killed 3 people. And there are multiple people in the Overcomers Through Christ Church, the OTC, that keep telling cops, we know who we think might have done this. And they're not investigating them. And those cases all go cold. And for about 3 years, this cult just keeps doing their thing, their little meetings where they're praying and blah, blah, blah. And she's having seizures on the floor. And they keep doing their thing. And they don't kill anyone. But in 2015, Cecelia was running out of money. So she devised another plan. The group started now committing crimes like insurance fraud, theft, and murder to fund the orphanage, quote unquote, and to continue to help the children from being hurt by satanic cults, apparently. They recruited a new dude named John Barnard, who was a drug addict.
AKA new dude.
Cecelia would have him commit crimes and give him drugs as payment. So he wasn't in the cult trying to be all, deliver us from evil type of vibe. He
just wanted some crack.
He just wanted his drugs.
They found a local crackhead.
Yeah, they just wanted his drugs.
Crackheads will do anything.
So he told Cecelia that his bosses were very well off, and he set up a meeting between his boss, Peter Meyer, and members of the group to discuss a, quote, business venture. And on November 27, 2015, Zach, Miranda, and Marcel arrived at Peter Meyer's home, tied him and his wife up, and demanded money. The couple didn't have much money on them, so the 3 of them stabbed the couple to death. The next scheme was to collect Zach's life insurance policy by having Zach fake his own death. They ended up becoming friends with a street vendor by the name of Jared Jackson. And
what did this street vendor sell?
He just sold random odds and ends. He sold little things. The dudes when you go to New York City and they sell hats and scarves and stuff like that.
Oh, nothing fun.
So on December 16th, 2015, Jared went with John, Miranda, and her son LaRue on a drive in 2 separate cars. One of the cars was Zach's Mercedes. And during the drive, LaRue ended up drugging and then strangling Jared Jackson. They then pulled over and put Jared's body in the front seat of the Mercedes and set it on fire. The following day, Miranda identified Jared Jackson's charred remains as the body of Zach Valentine because she claimed she was Zach's sister. And they ended up getting a death certificate. And they secured the insurance payout because Cecelia was the sole beneficiary. So they were able to literally fake Zach's death. Zach then booked himself into the Herberg Hotel in Krugersdorp. He didn't even leave town. He stayed in Krugersdorp. And he used a fake ID and he hid there until April of 2016. So the group then performed a series of appointment murders. That's what they called it. That's what the media called it, the appointment murders. What they would do is they would reach out to professionals like tax people, real estate agents, and they would set up appointments to meet with them and discuss business. Miranda, LaRue, and John Barnard would intimidate the victims, making them hand over their bank cards, and then Marcel would go to a nearby ATM to verify the PIN was correct. Once they confirmed that the PIN was correct, the victims would be murdered and their bodies would be put into the trunk of their own car. So they murdered 3 people this way, okay? 57-year-old tax consultant Glenn McGregor, 67-year-old tax consultant Alex Schofield, and 29-year-old accountant Kevin McAlpin.
Why are they killing those people?
Because they wanted money out of their ATM.
You can't even withdraw that much money. You doing it for $800?
They're doing it for small amounts of money, but
wow.
It was like a couple thousand here, a few thousand there. It wasn't like anything super crazy.
So these people are too stupid to find big amounts of if you're gonna commit a crime, at least do it for a big amount of money.
Yeah, they were just
don't kill no one, folks, unless they deserve it.
They were doing
child molesters or some shit.
They were just, at this point, I feel like they just liked killing people because you're doing it for such and plus they all worked full time. 2 of them were students. Cecelia didn't work, but Miranda was a high school teacher this whole time. She's still a high school teacher.
Damn.
Zach Valentine, until he faked his own death, was a very successful financial advisor who made a lot of money. And the other 2 were teenagers who were in high school. So on May 30th, 52-year-old Hanley Ladigan met with Miranda and Zach to look at real estate. She was a real estate agent, so they booked an appointment with her. And they're like, we want to look at some real estate. She was suspicious of the couple and knew something just wasn't right. So she tried to outsmart the group by claiming that her money was actually in her savings account, okay? So they intimidated her. They ended up tying her up. They get her bank card. They overpowered her. And she's like, look, my money is not in my checking account. It's actually in my savings account. The reason she did that
Gotta go to the bank.
Is because her husband gets a notification when money is withdrawn from the savings account. And she wanted her husband to get the notification on his phone. So Marcel and LaRue went to the ATM and they withdrew 3,000 Rand from the account, which then caused her husband to get the notification. She kept talking to them about more money, trying to say, I have more money, but it's in this place. Just trying to
go get you more.
Stay alive.
The notifications going.
Exactly. And she kept trying to stay alive as long as possible. But sadly, her husband wouldn't find her in enough time. The group murdered her and put her body in the trunk of her own car as well. Because of the notifications that her husband got on his phone, though, police were able to trace where the ATM withdrawal happened and then looked at the camera footage. And they see these 2 teenagers, LaRue and Marcel, withdrawing the money. So thank God this lady was smart enough to think to do that. Because then her husband got the notifications. And even though she unfortunately died, this was the beginning of the end for this group. Because
that's good.
The police saw the footage of them withdrawing the money. So up until this point, over the last few years, many people told police, like I said, that this was Cecelia and her followers committing these crimes, but police had failed the victims over and over again. But now they brought in the big guns, okay? They brought in a task force who was led by a very notorious detective named Ben Boyson. And he was not playing around. This guy was actually really good. He's a really good detective. He's highly respected in South Africa.
I can't believe it took like good detectives to take down these weirdos.
I know. It's kind of ridiculous. So he's the one who got access to the ATM footage and discovers it's the teens drawing the money. And they put their photos out to the public. And they said, can you guys identify them? These two teenagers. Does anyone know who they are?
And they didn't even wear masks.
No.
They just went up there, raw dog in it.
Yeah, 100%. Quickly, an informant came forward and identified them, and both of them were arrested and brought in for questioning. So Marcel tells cops her brother got the ATM cards from Nigerian criminals, that they didn't murder anyone. They just got the cards from these Nigerian guys.
Are those the Nigerian princes that hit me up on like for scams?
Apparently, but Marcel made this up, obviously. LaRue, on the other hand, covered for everyone, and he took the blame for the entire thing. Captain Boyson didn't believe him. He saw right through it. He was like, nah, you did not act alone. You're a 16-year-old kid. Like, you didn't do this by yourself. You didn't murder 3 people and put them in the trunk of their cars. So someone called Captain Boyson anonymously and said he should get a search warrant for Miranda's classroom. Because remember, she's a high school teacher. So they went to her classroom and they searched it. And when they did, they found ammunition hidden in the classroom. Why does a high school teacher have ammunition hidden in her classroom, right? When the principal was told about this, he agreed to cooperate with police. And then they started searching all through her documents. And they found out that she recently changed her will. And it was changed after her kids got arrested. She took her kids completely off the will and made Cecelia Steyn her sole beneficiary. So Captain Boyson confronted LaRue and said, look what your mother did. You got arrested. Now she took you off her will. Like, she's throwing you away pretty much. And he really used this, to kind of convince LaRue to tell him everything and stop saying it's just you. It wasn't just you that did this. You can tell me, look what your mother did. She doesn't give a shit about you. And this made him sing like a canary. He told everything.
Nice.
LaRue linked the cult to every murder that they committed since 2012, and he outed the whole group. They then brought in John Barnard, and he gave a full confession as well, because he's just the drug addict, and he didn't care about the cult.
Bro, I'm just in this for the crack.
And this corroborated LaRue's story. So they arrested all...
I miss Kawaba waiting stories. Barbara Wawa.
I know, I don't say that anymore. I've learned the correct way to say it. So they arrested all 6 of them, and they started building their case. LaRue and John Barnard testified for the state in court. Miranda apparently heard the voice of God, who told her to confess in court so that she would be forgiven.
You're not forgiven. If there is a higher power, they don't forgive you.
Well, at the first trial, it was LaRue, John Barnard, and Miranda. And they testified for the state. They confessed to everything. But Miranda never implicated Marcel or Cecelia during her testimony. She never said that they were involved. She was trying to protect them. Her daughter.
Those were the kids.
No. Marcel was her daughter, but Cecelia is the leader.
Oh, so she's protecting
the leader and her daughter.
Oh, chill, fat Pauly D face. Put her down.
In the end, Marcel took the stand, okay? The 14-year-old, at this point, she's like 18 or she's 21 at this point. She finally takes the stand, and she confessed to everything as well. She said the whole time she always felt what they were doing was wrong, but that she kept telling herself that what Cecelia says is right, so it must be right. She said now, at 21 years old, she understands how wrong it all really was, and that Cecelia made them believe they were doing God's work. Marcel apologized multiple times for her roles in the murders, but she said, I know an apology doesn't matter. It won't bring anyone back.
Lock her up forever.
She told the judge that her mother and Cecelia said if she told the truth, she would be killed in jail by witches. So the judge agreed to have her transferred out of the jail and moved to a different facility. Can you believe that? Her own mother said, if you tell the truth, you're going to be killed by witches. So in the end, Miranda, her own mother, had more loyalty to Cecelia than her own children.
I've experienced some of that where people have more loyalty to religions than their children.
Yeah.
I've personally experienced that.
Well, that's what happened here, and it happened with Zach as well. He had more loyalty to Cecelia than his own wife. He killed her. In the end, Cecelia, Zach, Miranda, and Marcel all received multiple concurring life sentences in prison. Okay.
Good.
John Barnard received 30 years for his crimes because he confessed and took a plea. And LaRue took a plea, and he was the first to confess, and he received 25 years. So he will be out when he's in his 40s, maybe 50.
Wow. But, you let him out, and those people aren't back, these innocent people. Because he wasn't killing people that were doing bad things or nothing. They were just like robbing people.
Yeah, they were innocent people, literally had no reason to die, nothing. They did nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong. They were just part of a church, going to church, chilling. They did nothing wrong.
If that was like my mom and he killed my mom or something, I'd be licking my chops waiting for him to get out. Like, I've been waiting for the day for you to get out, sucker.
Well, him and John Barnard are the two that will be eventually freed. John, I don't know how old he is, so he might end up being very old or dying in jail. But the other ones
Hopefully.
all have life sentences. But it's so crazy. Like I said, earlier, I feel like this cult in particular started out where they all believed her. In the beginning, they all believed her. But then it turned into these crimes where you're not killing people claiming to do God's
You're
work.
stealing $800, bro.
You're killing people for money. That's a whole different thing. So, yes, you might have believed her in the beginning, but it's crazy how devoted Zach and Miranda were. Zach was more devoted to Cecelia than his own wife. Miranda was more devoted to Cecelia than her own children. And a lot of people have said that they think Miranda was in love with Cecelia.
Who could be in love with that thing?
Maybe Miranda, because she chose her over her children.
This was like the corny cult of 6 people.
Yeah.
We'll call it the corn cult of 6.
Corn cult of 6. But they actually killed 11 people. I mean, they brutally murdered 11 people.
They killed more people than were in the cult. And they were bully killers, too.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they were like going after people. They were going after easy marks and like not even getting
Just
big
innocent people.
money.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Just regular people.
People just
the
working.
kid, all of them, leave them all in there to rot.
Yeah.
I don't care if you were 14. If you're in there stabbing innocent people, it takes a unique person to be able to stick a knife through the flesh of an innocent person that didn't do anything to you.
Yeah.
And that person still has that in them somewhere. I don't care.
Well, a lot of people...
Don't rehabilitate them.
A lot of people feel that Marcel, the one, she'll never get out of jail, but a lot of people feel the 14-year-old Marcel, that she could be rehabilitated.
I don't want her rehabilitated. Suffer.
Let me finish. Because she was influenced by her mother. Her mother brought her into this, and her mother told her to kill these people, and she listened to her mother. So a lot of people think that because she was so impressionable and young, she believed Cecelia, and then she was following her mother's direction, and that it wasn't her choice to like do all of this, but she ended up going along with it.
I could see why they would say that.
So they think she could be rehabilitated.
For the people that are sensitive and want to forgive everyone, I could see why they would say that.
Yeah.
But me, friar too.
Yeah. Well, none of them got fried. They all are spending life in prison. I don't know if they have the death penalty over there.
When I say fry, I just mean like give them harsh penalties.
You don't mean like death penalty.
I don't necessarily mean electrocute them or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Send them to Russia with Brittany Griner for manual labor for all these years.
Yeah. Well, that's the case of the Krugersdorp Cult Killings.
That was the case of the Corn Crew.
The Corn Crew, yeah. It's really sad, though. Like
Fucking
we said, they
bitches.
are innocent people that they killed. And they really believe this lady was like a witch and was supposed to be married to the devil. Like, they really believed all this shit that Cecelia said.
The biggest surprise to me was that she actually had a husband. I was like, who the fuck would marry that?
Yeah.
I wonder what's going down in jail. Like, is she trying to convince people of this stupid shit? And people are like, get the fuck out of my face. And like,
I don't know.
Beating her up.
Yeah, I wonder how the prisons are over there. If they're like as tough as they are here. I'm sure they are. I mean, prisons are all tough around the world because they're full of criminals.
Yeah, they shouldn't even give her no food.
Well, they will. So that's it. So that cult was like mild. That was more a group of scumbags killing together versus a full-blown brainwashed cult.
The kids probably wouldn't have done that had they not been, what's the word, led that way or something like that.
That's solely their mother's fault for bringing them into that.
Yeah, but when you're stabbing people and you're out on these missions and tricking people to get in their houses and...
Yeah, I know. It's a tough call, honestly.
Fine.
I went back and forth about it. I went back and forth of like, does she deserve to be rehabilitated, or could she be rehabilitated, or does she deserve to rot
I think
in jail?
all the other people, give them the harshest penalty. For the people that believe that death penalty is the harshest, and they think that they should get that. Not the kids, but like all the other people. Or you think life in jail is harsher, and give them that. But the kids, I probably wouldn't execute them. I would just leave them in jail forever.
Well, one of them's getting out in 25 years, so...
And that wasn't
he took a plea.
ago.
Yeah.
Well, I took a plea, too.
This all happened in 2000. He was sentenced, I think, all of them were sentenced in like 2018, 19, 16, something like that. Recently.
Damn. I wonder what her hair is now. Can we look her up?
I don't know. I don't know if they have pictures of her now. I haven't seen any. All I see is when you look her up is pictures with that haircut.
I wonder if you still Harlem shaking on the floor.
I don't know. Maybe. God.
She's South Africa's G-Dep.
God.
All right, folks. Well, another one in the books.
Another one.
In my DJ Khaled voice. God's plan.
All right. Well, check us out on Instagram at Wife of Crime Pod, and Facebook at Wife of Crime, the Crime Family, and Patreon at Wife of Crime Pod, and wifeofcrime.com if you want to get merch. And that's it. Have a wonderful week, everybody.
And catch the TikTok queen.
Oh, yeah. And TikTok at Wife of Crime Pod.
And get the merch.
All right. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.
Peace.